What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about the altcoin markets in this video. The purpose of this video is to discuss what I expect the average performance for the average altcoin to be between now and the end of this next phase higher in the bull market. This is not end of cycle predictions. We can go over that too. We'll go over that too, okay? And I think a video like this is really helpful because it helps identify, what standard your altcoins should meet. Are you performing above the bar, below the bar? Are you at the bar? You at least want to be at the bar, but really what you want is to be above the bar. And we're going to set the standard in this video. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into this. The way that we're going to measure and identify what the expected intended performance is for the average altcoin between now and the end of this next phase is by using the others chart. The others chart, for those of you that don't know, it's the top 125 cryptos, at least to my knowledge, last I checked. Top 125 cryptos, excluding the top 10. So no Bitcoin, no Ethereum, Solana, XRP, USDT, BNB, none of the top 10 coins. No Dogecoin, no Tron, no ADA. There's other ones too that I'm sure I'm forgetting, but that might have been 10 that I just said. But anyways, it's the top 125 excluding the top 10. Okay, this is your altcoin index, right? It's like the S&P 500, except it's the crypto P 125. Mine is the top 10. When this chart moves up like this, if it moves up 10%, the average altcoin is probably moving up 10%. If it moves down 10%, the average altcoin probably moves down 10%. Do you notice how this chart has a giant W in it? And I would assume most cryptos that you're looking at, that you're invested in, probably are in the midst of breaking out of their W's as well, right? Not every crypto, not every single crypto looks like this, but generally this is kind of the average performance of the average altcoin. So using this chart, we can identify where the next target area is, right? And we could just go through in time and just first off validate that we do respect the Fibonacci retracement levels on this. To do this, we're going to use the Fibonacci retracement tool, okay? Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to take it from the last cycle's high, November 2021, to the bear market low, okay? Now, from the high to the low, just a quick explanation of how this works. High to low, none of these prices, none of these readings matter because this is while it's being formed. It's all about the stuff afterwards that matters, right? You can see clearly here that you found support directly at this level. It's actually not a fib level. It's just an area that I've identified myself in my time using the fibs. What do I know? I've been doing technical analysis now for 9.5 years. This is my third crypto bull run. So, I've adjusted this a little bit. Whenever you use the retracement tool, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to be set to the same metrics, but there's a reason I have this here, and it's not just for this one chart in this one video. I have them in all my videos, but if you're looking at it here, that 069 oftentimes is a good like double bottom or higher low to suggest you are moving higher. You found resistance right here at the golden ratio, and then you came up. You actually found support on the golden ratio, broke down, found support at the 382 and the 0.5 here. You're not showing perfect respect everywhere, and as time goes on, you tend to show less respect, but whenever it comes to the retracements, it's no surprise that you're disrespecting this a little bit, but you still do look productive. And whenever it comes to the extensions, which we're going to get into, the extensions, I would expect that you respect these heavily because this is your cycle high from last cycle to cycle low Fibonacci retracement, which puts your extensions here. We haven't even interacted with these extension levels yet, and we're likely going to get there. Something smells like mint up in here, man. I don't know what it smells like experiment. Anyways, I would anticipate that we do interact with these fib levels. Why didn't it draw? With these fib levels on this next move. So this, essentially, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, is what the average altcoin is going to do between now and I would think by the end of August, if not by the end of September. Granted, every altcoin moves at its own pace. It's very possible that we see these coins topping off, some in August, some in September, right? But the average coin, I would think, tops off in August, right? But nevertheless, whenever they top off, when is not necessarily the question I'm answering here. It's more of where, right? And from this current price, if we go to the 1272, that is a minimum standard of 178%. So the minimum end of what you should look for in any altcoin is a 2.8x, essentially. That's the minimum standard. I don't believe that we're going to stop here, personally. And again, what do I know? But the Fibonacci retracement tool extensions as well, that's like my bread and butter. This is what I've been doing for 9.5 years. And whenever you consolidate like this, above the golden ratio primarily, and just acting like this, below this level, typically you don't stop at the 1272. You actually go a little bit higher. I would think the 1414 makes a lot of sense. And let's think about this logically beyond just the fibs, right? Are we going to stop at an $838 billion market cap, or will we stop somewhere around 1 trillion? A nice psychological level of resistance. I think it would make sense if we stop at 1 trillion. We throw the fibs on top of that, and we can see that we have the 1414 here right around 1 trillion. Don't get me wrong, 838 billion is close to a trillion as well. What's $100 billion between friends, right? But I'm thinking 1.1 trillion is likely where we'll go. Little fun fact about the 1414 is that typically whenever you interact with it, you don't see a rejection like this. What you see is a wick to the upside, and then you come down. I wonder if we can actually find an example of that here. Let's just see. I got to figure out what that smell is, man. It's driving me crazy. I swear it's clearing out my sinuses. Okay, well, this this is a bad example, but the 1414 there, you actually did top right at the 1414 there. It was a perfect top. That's not a typical event with the 1414 in all honesty, but it did happen right there. What about this one over here? What about this high to low? I just want to see if I can find an example. Here you did wick a little bit above it, but damn, you actually stopped right at it. Okay, maybe, you know, and every chart's different. It's probably good that we're doing this to get to know our chart, so to speak, because every chart, it has their own personality. They, like people, you respect certain social cues and stuff, but you have your own like flavors of intention and flavors of what you like to do. I don't know, like your own little personality traits. That's how I think of it, at least. Maybe we do stop at the 1414. Maybe we stop exactly there. But again, going off of how you perform typically whenever it comes to the Fibonacci extensions, I'm going to throw in a slightly higher number as well. So the minimum target for the average altcoin would be about 180%. If you're holding an altcoin that's not doing at least 180%, it might move up. It's probably going to move up. Everything's going to move up over the next month. Absolutely. Everything will. But will everything do 178%, 180%? Probably not. And if your coin is not doing at least that, you have a dud. That doesn't mean that you should freak out if it's the middle of August and your coin hasn't gotten here. Maybe it tops off in September. Maybe it tops off later in August. And there's other coins that'll pump more. You won't really know until this next move, this next phase up is higher, or is done. What if the average coin starts to consolidate, but your coin continues to run 2 weeks later? You know what I mean? You don't be so fast to judge whatever coins there are. But again, just with this next phase up, whenever we do have a consolidation phase that lasts for 4 to 6 weeks, I don't think that we're going to have consolidation phases that last for half a year anymore. I think these long consolidation phases are done, guys. They're going to be 4 to 6 weeks long consolidation phases going between now and the end of the cycle. We'll probably have like 2 or 3 more consolidation phases going into the end of the cycle here. But during that next one, if you're not up at least 180%, you've got a dud. Maybe it's time to, call it quits, rotate, especially if it's down while everything else is moving up, especially that would be a dud. Absolutely. The actual area that C-Zar expects, my expectation, and where that's the minimum standard, but what I think the actual standard, what the goal in mind should be, is that your altcoin needs to at least do a 3.7x, 269% move, right? At least there. If I'm holding a coin and it doesn't between now and the end of August or September, if it does not move up at least 269%, I'm cutting my ties. I'm moving on to a different project. That's what it is. Maybe I'll add more into a coin that I'm already holding that's moving up more, or maybe I'll just diversify into something else that's new. I don't know. That's at the 1414. And if we perform how we have, apparently, with the 1414, maybe that's exactly where we stop, is at that level. I want to see, how do we interact with it over here? If we go from a high to a low, from the prior cycle, the prior cycle's high to low. And am I right on? I want to get it specific. I want to be right on that high. You got to be very specific. Okay, so here you did find resistance right there. You actually came down and then you continued to rally all the way up to the 1618, the golden ratio there. So not really showing much respect. That's not enough for me to gauge it. And the multiple times that we've analyzed the 1414, at least seen where we went, we actually did find resistance right at it. So I think that's something you can count on, being right above $1 trillion to 1.11, nice little psychological resistance there. But maybe we go to 1.2, something between a 4x and a 3.7x, okay? Something in that range. That's average, okay? And that's great. That's the standard. But what we're looking for in any crypto market, in any asset market, is to find something that performs above average. So what you want to do is take the time to take notice What coins are doing more than a 4x between now and the end of September? What cryptos, what stocks that are related to cryptos are doing more than a 4x between now and then? Because if it's not doing that, I mean, if it's at least doing this, if it's at least doing a 3.7 to a 4x, okay, great. But you want the winners. You want the top dogs. And the top dogs will make themselves known in this next move. Now, if you're not holding a top dog now and it moves up there, you're not going to catch as much upside overall. But you can still at least salvage some of that extra oomph from these top moving coins between this next topping point and the end of the cycle, which we're so far away from, you guys, and you can definitely make the most out of it by identifying it now. If you're looking at your crypto and you've got a crypto that's already at new all-time highs like XRP, you got a top dog, right? If you've got a coin that, if let's just say right now, and this might not hold true, especially for new coins, right? Anything that's come out in like 2025 or 2024, but anything that's been around since the bear market low, the average coin right now is up about 329%. If you're holding a coin that's up more than that, you've got a coin that's outperforming the average altcoin. And you can expect, if they've already been outperforming the average altcoin, to continue to outperform. So there's a little bit of something before we move up to help identify that as well. You want to invest, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but you want to invest in cryptos that are low cap altcoins, low cap cryptos, okay? And if they're big market caps, if they're like multi-billion-dollar market caps, the requirement there, it's not that they can't average perform or that they can't outperform the average coin. If they're multi-billion-dollar market caps, there are plenty of cryptos that will outperform the average altcoin that are still worth multi-billion-dollar market caps, but they're not going to be new this cycle. They have to be established. They have to be from a prior cycle at least. So I'm not saying steer away from high market cap coins. Those are safer bets for sure. You're just probably not going to get the most crazy gains with those, but you can still see above average performance. Like I think we're going to get with XRP, like we're probably going to get with Ethereum even. Dogecoin. Dogecoin might perform on average, right? I'm expecting big things with Bitcoin Cash, Monero maybe, Stellar Lumens, HBAR, right? These coins. There's other ones too that I'm not naming, not because I don't think they deserve to be named, but I'm drawing a blank and I want to end this video. So if just because I didn't say your coin doesn't mean that it can't do magical things, right? Like VeChain, I don't know. But there's nothing else to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. The standard to look for is something that is more than a 3.7x, more than a 4x, okay? At least that. The bare ass minimum to not abandon hope on a project would be at least a 2.8x, okay, about a 3x still. If your altcoin isn't doing that, you've really got a dud. But in my world, 3.7 or 3.8, whatever it was, to a 4x move, if you're not doing that at least, I'm going to reorganize my portfolio and put it in coins that are doing that and more. We want coins that are doing 5x's, 10x's, 20x's, 40x's, whatever it might be. And if it's a meme coin that's doing a 40x, that's a bit different, right? Those coins that they'll do a 40x and then they'll come back down. That doesn't, every coin, I want to be clear here with this part too, every coin that does crazy phenomenal, does like a 20x, 40x, 100x between now and the end of this next phase up in the markets, they're probably not going to continue to perform that way, right? Those crazy pumps can be here and there, here and gone, right? Depending if it builds up a community, builds up some actual bullish momentum behind it, stuff like that. If there's actually some fundamental values to it, okay, then it'll sustain. But if it's just like a here and there kind of thing, that's the exception to the rule of what I'm saying. I hope I'm being clear as to what I'm saying here. Meme coins are kind of the exception to this rule, okay? Established meme coins that are at least on various exchanges and big exchanges, those can be exceptions, right? Like Dogecoin, like Shiba Inu, like Toshi, like Turbo, Pepe, Mudang even, right? But the lower down the totem pole, the sketchier it gets, you know what I mean? So just be careful. Enjoy yourselves. Make your plays now. Look for the coins that have done at least a 4.3x or more, ideally more, and maybe make your plays on those, right? If you're holding 10 coins and you've got 2 coins that are less than 4.3x up right now, that doesn't mean, I'm not saying sell them. If you've got conviction, you bought them for a reason, hold them, whatever. But maybe if you're trying to put some extra cheddar into something, maybe don't put it in those ones. Maybe put it in the ones that have outperformed the markets already, because those will likely continue to outperform the markets. And what do I know? Again, this is just my 3rd bull cycle. I've got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. All right, bye-bye.